ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if there's anyone here who's feeling worried, nervous or apprehensive, you're either me or you've just married Alex Major. For those who don't know me, I'm Matt. I'm Alex's younger brother. Our parents were obviously so disappointed with their first attempt, they decided to try again. Then I popped out, and they thought, for the sake of humanity, they think it's probably best that they stop having children altogether. Now I know, me and Alex look nothing alike, and I have as hard a time believing that we're brothers as you do. We were genuinely more inclined to believe that I'm the milkman's son. Well, that is, until the Aaron Major gene seems to be starting to work its magic on Alex. So, that's something you've got to look forward to, Mary. But don't worry, the Majors don't go bald, it's just a solar panel to a love machine.
Stephen!
One down. 69 to go. Now, if you haven't realised yet, the reason I'm stood before you today, having to give this speech and embarrass myself, is because I have the dubious honour of being Alex's best man. I say dubious because being asked to be someone's best man is a lot like being asked to make love to the Queen. You know it would be a real honour, but you're not really sure if you want to do it. Firstly, I wish to thank Alex on behalf of the bridesmaids. I'm sure you will all agree they all look amazing today and you've all done brilliantly. I can't thank you enough. So can I have a round of applause for the bridesmaids, please? Next, I want to thank my amazing ushers. I genuinely couldn't have done it without you guys today, so thank you. And I will say, some of you do screw up alright, although me and Gauzy, when we stood together, do kind of look like a tribute band to Right Said Fred. Two. And last but not least, Mary. Obviously the focus of everyone's attention today, and rightly so. You look absolutely stunning, and Chris and David, you must be so proud parents today, seeing your little girl turn into a woman today. Honestly, Mary, you look fabulous, and I didn't even think it was possible. You may even look better than me. I can see why Alex snapped you up so fast. For those who don't know, Mary and Alex were dating for 11 years before Alex proposed. But I like to think of their relationship like a fine wine. It takes time to get the right beauty, balance and body right, but I also think it because they're both raging alcoholics. Now obviously, I've known Alex ever since the day the milkman and my mother had me. Growing up together in those early days, I'm proud to say I was an angelic child. No trouble to anyone. The same could not be said of Alex. I was often the victim of his little schemes. Matt, you know you can eat the spaghetti out of the garden, he would say to me. And under duress, I'd grab a handful of worms, shove them in my mouth, run inside and declare to my mother, Mummy, Mummy, look, you can eat the spaghetti out of the garden. Much to my mother's horror. I remember the time he told me that if I put a skewer in one ear, it would come out the other. Obviously culminated in one of our many trips to the children's hospital. In fact, we were there so much, it was like a second home to us. I even think social services paid a visit or two to my mother, inquiring why her boys spent so much time in A&E. Gosh. I remember the day I went to join him at Silverdale. Our secondary school. I was so excited to finally go to school with my big brother. He'll look after me, I thought to myself. How wrong I was. Upon arriving, I thought it was strange that all his friends were pointing and laughing at me. It was only a few days later that I found out he told all the big kids in school that I was in fact a quote, fat gay lord. That nickname nickname haunted me for a while, and I could never thank you enough for that, Alex. Speaking of nicknames, I started to call Alex Fathead around this time, and Alex, being the creative young soul that he is, nicknamed me Fathead too. This carried on to my younger brother, who we also nicknamed Fathead. This has even carried on to Alex's work, where all of his workmates have started to call me Fathead too. Now, I find this rather unfair, because, one, I bloody came up with it, and two, I'd like to think I've got the smallest head out of the three of us. Certainly the most streamlined, anyway. Ever since we were little, it was a dream of mine and Alex's to go and live in Canada and work on a ski hill. I finally plucked up the courage and went out there alone. Once I found a job, I found a house, made some friends and settled in, Alex decided it was safe enough to come along. And he came to join me by surprise. I'll never forget the night that he got there. Well, I say night, it was about 6 in the morning, and me and my mate Jeff decided it was a good idea for an impromptu round of street hockey. So we rushed downstairs, in full gear, kicked the front door open and some guy was stood outside. I thought he seemed familiar, so I turned to my mate Jeff and said, I think I know that guy. Once it finally sunk in who it was one of the happiest moments of my life. I rushed him back into the hostel and proceeded to wake every single person up at 6 in the morning to show them my big brother. Thinking back, that probably wasn't the best way for him to make first impressions. Working at that ski hill together, living our dream and doing what we love are some of the best memories I have with him. There's not many. But as all good things must come to an end, as the money began to dwindle and as the snow began to melt, it was time for a new adventure. We had just about enough money for one more infamous night out in Hollywood. Only having enough money for one more night, we decided to make it a good one. We drank Jaeger bombs like they were going out of fashion. We spoke to porn stars, rode mechanical bulls and chatted up midgets till closing time. When they finally kicked us out in the pouring rain, me and Alex lost each other. Neither of us had enough money for a taxi ride home, and it was a 6-mile walk back to the hotel. I, for some reason, decided it would be a good idea to hitchhike home. It wasn't. After getting knocked back a few times, I decided it would be a good idea to take my trousers off and offer them up for a payment for a ride home. When someone finally pulled over, I went to the window and I thought I said something along the lines of, "Excuse me, sir, would you mind giving me a ride home in exchange for these fine garments?" Which obviously came across as a drunken, trouserless man throwing his clothes around and shouting gibberish. This quickly scared him away, so I resigned myself to walking home in the rain, trouserless. After about half a mile, I noticed a man who was obviously intoxicated trying to run home. I say trying, as he was obviously too drunk to stand up, let alone run. He would start a sprint, get about 10 steps in, then fall over flat on his face, then immediately pick himself up and repeat the process. It was not until I got closer that I realised that this vagabond before me was in fact Alex. Guys. That trip taught me a lot about love, and I know Alex will say the same, but we both hated each other in the strongest sense of the word. Everything we did annoyed each other so much, I will honestly say I've never hated anyone else in my entire life. But no matter what, we never left each other's side. We stood together, shoulder to shoulder, brothers in arms. And that just goes to show what love can do. And isn't that the reason we're here today? to celebrate the coming together of my brother and Mary. You will get on each other's nerves. You will fight. You may even think you hate each other sometimes. But with true love, you'll stand together through thick and thin till the end of time. And if love can make a grown man take his trousers off for free rides in Hollywood, I don't know what he can't do. I'm halfway there, guys. As best man, I suppose I'm obliged to talk about the stag do's.
Yes!
No, the plural. Not a lot. I can't remember anything. Right. Now I don't know what was funnier. Alex's boss's face when I told him a couple of days before we went that Alex probably couldn't work this weekend. Or Mary's face when I told her we're going to Amsterdam. I'd probably have to go with Mary. But to be fair, she was fairly lenient in her rule set. No flirting, no snogging, and no shagging. But he can have as many boobs on his head as he likes. For the second stag do, we went to the Grand National. Now I can't remember a lot, but I think we had a good time. Did you have a good time, guys? All I know is that we lost a lot of good men that day. I woke up in my suit, spooning Alex, who was wearing a wedding dress. He was the small spoon. Mary, I have nothing but admiration and respect for you. You are the strongest woman I've ever met in my whole life. And you have to be, because I know just how hard it is to love this man. Over the past 11 years, I'd like to think that we have created a special bond, and I'm almost as happy for you as I am for Alex. I've already loved you like a sister for years, and today only cements that feeling. And I can't wait for the nephews you produce for me to corrupt. Now I know Mary will kill me for saying this. You probably thought you got away with it, didn't you? And I wasn't going to put it in my speech. But somewhere along the lines, me and my delightful younger brother, Dominic, hands up, we took to nicknaming Mary Old Saggy Tits. I don't know who said it first and where it came from, but it stuck. And at the time, we could all shrug it off because everybody knows Mary is neither old nor, as my uncle will confess, has saggy tits. However, as the inevitable struggle married to someone like my brother takes its toll, I believe this nickname may start to ring true. So as my gift to you today, I want to abolish this nickname and welcome you as an honorary sibling into the Fat Head Pack. Fat Head the Fourth. Now I'm told, as best man, I should offer words of advice to Alex and Mary. I'm no expert. I'm not even close to being married yet. Literally. To Mary, I say that men are apparently like tiled floors. You lay them right and you can walk all over them for years. Finally, to Alex, I offer two pieces of advice. The first is to say that you should start as you mean to go on. Set ground rules and establish who's boss early. And then just do everything Mary says. The second is that if you're clever, you'll always have the last word. And if you're really clever, you'll never use it. Joking aside, I've got to the serious stuff I want to say. This part I certainly don't need any prompts and won't get the opportunity to say again. Standing here on my brother's wedding day, in the company of so many friends and family, I feel overwhelmed by an unusual sense of affection towards Alex. I've realised that today that my annoying, older, sadistic brother, who upon first seeing me tried to pick me up by the ears, and whom I grew up predominantly arguing and fighting with, is actually pretty alright. I want to say it's impossible to summarize I want to say it's impossible to summarise the last 28 years I have known Alex. I would like to say that over the years he has been the best anyone could ever hope for, and also my best friend. I know that you will maintain these high standards as a fantastic, loving husband. Everybody will agree you make a fantastic couple and what's been a great day, and it's an honour to be a part of this celebration of your clear love towards each other. I'll honestly say I've been worried about giving this speech for about 6 months. Sleepless nights, butterflies like I've never had, writes and rewrites, but I couldn't wish for a better brother. And how much you mean to me is really impossible to put into words. Nobody else could possibly stand where I am right now and feel more proud and honoured than me to be able to represent Alex, my brother, as his best man on this, his most important day. So now I want everyone to be upstanding for the last toast. And some of you have got Jaeger bombs, some of you haven't got Jaeger bombs. So we're going to do this. Okay, everybody ready? Before I propose a toast, I'd like to quote the words of Edward Blaylock. I wish the best day of your past together be the worst day of your future. To Mr. and Mrs. Fathead and Saggy Tits.